Think like a genius and the origins of wealth part 2. Make every thought, every fact, that comes into your mind pay you a profit. Make it work and produce for you. Think of things not as they are but as they might be. Don't merely dream, but create. Maxwell Maltz. You are a potential genius. Your amazing brain has more than 18 billion cells, each one of which is connected to and interlinked with as many as 20,000 others. This means that the number of possible thoughts you can think is greater than all the molecules in the known universe. You have the capacity to learn at incredible rates and to retain more information than you can even imagine. It is said that when an educated person dies, it is as if a library burned down. This potential library is contained between your ears. Jumping to conclusions. People with mechanical mindsets tend to jump to conclusions. They see a problem and they immediately decide on a solution. When two events happen close together, they assume that one event is the reason for the second event. They confuse correlation with causation. Once they have made a decision, they look for evidence to confirm what they have already decided. Their egos quickly become involved, and they then become reluctant to change their minds. There seems to be a direct relationship between the number of ideas and approaches you develop to solve a problem and your likelihood of coming up with the best idea that will solve the problem in the very best way. For this reason, you must discipline yourself to resist the temptation to jump to conclusions or to rush to judgment. You must proceed more slowly, like a genius, and keep asking questions. You must keep your mind open. Creativity is your birthright. If the truth were known, you are an idea-generating organism. Creativity is your birthright. You are a highly intelligent individual with a continuous flow of good ideas that you can use to accomplish goals and improve your life. In fact, even if you have not used your creativity for a long time, and most people have not, you can stir it up, like sugar that has sunk to the bottom of a cup of coffee, by stimulating your mind with methods that we will talk about in the next chapter. There is a law of probabilities that applies to creative thinking and tapping into the powers of your mind. This law says that the more ideas that you are exposed to, the more likely it is that you will be exposed to the right idea, exactly when you need it. The most successful people today are those who are constantly exposing themselves to new ideas from a variety of sources. Unsuccessful people, in contrast, are those who continue to recirculate the same tired old ideas with little imagination or creativity. Look for ideas everywhere. When you attend a seminar or a lecture given by an expert who is sharing some of the most current ideas in his or her field, you will often receive a bombardment of new insights that you can use to improve parts of your life. Many people's lives have been completely changed as the result of attending a single lecture given by an intelligent person who gave them a single insight that was the key to their future. Imagine what would happen if you attended courses, seminars, and lectures on a regular basis. You would be continually bombarding your mind with new ideas that would keep your mind alert and aware, and keep your creative juices flowing. Creative people are constantly reading, not only in their own fields but in other fields as well. They read primarily nonfiction. They subscribe to a variety of magazines and newspapers. They are continually scanning through the tables of contents and through the critical articles. Always read with a pen or highlighter in your hand. Even better, learn how to speed read so that you can scan material at 1,000 words a minute or faster. Speed reading is a skill, like riding a bicycle, that anyone can learn with a few hours of application. Forever. After, you will be able to process more information than perhaps you ever imagined possible. Get around the right people. Effective people make a habit of associating with other positive, creative people. They are constantly sharing ideas and experiences and learning from each other. They cut clippings out of magazines and newsletters and pass them on to their friends. They recommend books they have read and audio programs they have listened to. Their friends do the same for them. Sometimes one good idea that you get from someone else can change the direction of your life. A foolish consistency. The second major factor that holds people back is homeostasis. This is defined as a striving for constancy. It is a deep desire to remain consistent with what you have done and said in the past. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote in his essay Self-Reliance, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds." He was referring to the natural tendency of individuals to try to remain consistent with previous opinions and behaviors. This form of rigidity blocks off almost all possibilities for growth in the future. To resist the tendency toward homeostasis, you should be willing to abandon your old ideas when someone can prove that there are newer, better ideas available. One way to escape the mental trap of homeostasis is for you to be willing to admit that you are wrong. The mark of the superior person, in a time of rapid change, is to always remain open to the possibility that one's most cherished ideas are incorrect. This takes tremendous courage and maturity. But it stimulates more ideas and insights. Wrong decisions. According to the American Management Association, at least 70% of your decisions will turn out to be wrong in the fullness of time. This 70% figure is an average. Some people will be wrong even more often. But you can assume, as a rule of thumb, that 7 out of 10 decisions that you make regarding your life and work will turn out to be wrong in the long run. Here is a question for you. If 70% of the decisions that managers and executives make turn out to be wrong, how can the world continue to function? The answer is simple. Superior people, those who rise to the top of any organization, are those who are willing to cut their losses. They are willing to admit quickly that they have made a mistake and rectify the situation rather than persist until it gets worse. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people fall in love with their past decisions, and once having made them, they are reluctant to give them up, even if all the evidence is against them. Don't let this happen to you. Instead, resolve to be the very first to recognize that a decision that you have made or the conclusion that you have come to has been invalidated or disproven by new information. Be prepared to drop the old decision and embrace a new solution or new way of doing things. Flexibility gives you strength. According to the Menninger Institute, the most important quality that you will need to be successful in the 21st century is the quality of flexibility, especially in the way you think. Flexibility refers to your willingness to change and try new things. It especially means that you have the ability to continually abandon old, outmoded ideas in favor of new, more effective ideas. Many people spend much of their time arguing, rationalizing, and justifying their behaviors. They are determined to continue doing things the same old way even when it is perfectly clear that the old way no longer works. The way to avoid this tendency is to remain flexible, especially when you are most convinced that you are right. The miracle of personal development. One of the great turning points in my life came when, as a young man in my early 20s, I discovered the miracle of personal development. My life has never been the same. I learned that through personal development you can indeed pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. I learned that, by learning what you need to learn to achieve the goals you have set for yourself, there are virtually no limits on what you can do, have, or be. The truth is that the future belongs to the competent. You could lose all of your money tomorrow, but as long as you still had your ability to think and reason, you could make it all back and more besides. The future belongs to those who are better informed. The future belongs not to those who have more versus those who have less, but to those who know more versus those who know less. Rapid obsolescence. Knowledge and information in your field are doubling every 2 or 3 years. Whatever information base you have is rapidly becoming obsolete. You must be in the process of continually taking in new information and ideas just to stay even. Fortunately, there is a simple, 3-part program that you can use to keep yourself ahead of the pack. I have used it and taught it to many thousands of people, and I have files full of letters from people whose entire lives have been changed as a result. The 3 keys to continuous personal and professional development are continuous reading, continuous listening to audio learning programs, and continuous training. Read every day. In order to stay on top of your job, you should read in your field at least 1 hour per day, underlining and taking good notes. Anything less than 1 hour per day will put you in danger of being passed by your competitors. My friend Jim Rohn advises, work at least as hard on yourself as you do on your job. At the very least, you should get up every morning and read 30 to 60 minutes in something educational. Take careful notes. Review your notes on a regular basis. Reflect on what you have learned, and think about how you could apply the new ideas in your daily life. Use your powers of visualization to imagine yourself using the new information in some way. This will dramatically increase the speed at which you learn and retain new ideas, and increase the likelihood that you will use them at the first opportunity. If you read just 1 hour per day, that will amount to about 1 book per week. 1 book per week will amount to about 50 books per year. 50 books per year will total about 500 books over the next 10 years. At the very least, you will need a bigger house just to hold your books, and you will probably be able to afford it as well. Give yourself the edge. According to the American Booksellers Association, fully 70% of American adults have not visited a bookstore in the last 5 years. The average American reads less than 1 book per year. 58% of adult Americans never read another book from cover to cover after they leave high school. Meanwhile, in the information age, if you are not reading continuously, you are in serious danger of being made obsolete by the passage of time. However, if you read 1 hour per day, 1 book per week, you will be getting the equivalent of a PhD in your field. Every year, you will become one of the smartest, best informed, and most productive people in your business. Beating the drum. Some years ago, I had a good friend who read very little. He was not convinced that reading would make any difference to his life or income. He had gotten out of the habit of reading after he left school. He argued with me that reading wasn't that important. Meanwhile, he struggled to make a living. He was continually frustrated. He was continually losing business to his better-informed competitors. For almost 3 years, I kept at him, encouraging him to begin daily reading. Finally, he gave in and began to read each morning, just for a few minutes. He was amazed at how helpful the reading was, and how much more knowledgeable he was when he spoke to his clients. He soon began reading, as I had recommended, an hour per day, one book per week. Within a year, his income had doubled. After 2 years, his income doubled again. Today he is one of the highest paid people in his field. And he is proud to tell me every time I see him that he very seldom meets a client who is as well informed as he is about their business. And the more he reads, the more competent and confident he becomes. To earn more, you must learn more. The rule is that to earn more, you must learn more. You cannot move ahead in your field further or faster than you are doing today except to the degree to which you learn and practice something new. The second part of your personal and professional development program consists of audio learning programs. If you travel your work, you spend between 500 and 1,000 hours per year in your car. If you turn this driving time into learning time, you will get the equivalent of 3 to 6 months of 40-hour weeks of additional education, just driving from place to place. I have met countless people who have doubled, tripled, and quadrupled their incomes by the simple act of listening to audio learning programs as they drive around. Take all the training you can get. The third key to continuous learning and to unlocking your mental potential is for you to take all the training you can get. If a training program is offered in the public arena, it has already been proven to be highly effective. The person presenting the program has probably acquired many years of experience and may have spent hundreds of hours assembling the program that you can take in a half or a full day. You can sometimes save yourself weeks, months, and even years of hard work by attending a seminar given by an expert who explains to you state-of-the-art ways to get your job done faster and easier. When you combine these three, regular reading, regular listening to audio learning programs, and regular and continuous training, you have a dynamite combination that can propel you forward at a greater speed than you ever could without them. Knowledge is power. As mentioned earlier, Francis Bacon said that knowledge is power. This is only partially true. In fact, the only knowledge that can be applied to practical purposes for someone else is actually power. The libraries are full of knowledge that does no one any good. To change your thinking in a positive and constructive way, you must continually feed your mind with new ideas. You must stay current with your field. You must regularly associate with other leading people in your area of specialization. You must be continually looking for ways to do your work better, faster, cheaper, and easier. You must continually seek ways to serve your clients and customers better. You must stay on the cutting edge of your field so that you are, and you continue to be, one of the most valuable people in your business. And no limit thinking. In the information age, knowledge is everything. And the amount of knowledge that you can gather and apply to your life is limited only by your own personal ambition. There are really no limits on what you can accomplish except for the limits you set for yourself. The more you learn, the more you earn. The more knowledgeable you become about your field, the more courage and confidence you will have to implement your skills in your work. The more courage and confidence you develop, the higher will be your self-esteem and your sense of personal power. You will become virtually unstoppable in everything you do. Action exercises. 1. Begin today to create your own personal library of books in your field. Read for 30 to 60 minutes each day, underline, and take careful notes. 2. Examine your recent unexpected successes and failures in your business. Could they be indicative of a trend that you can take advantage of? 3. Approach each problem in your life systematically. Imagine that the solution is exactly the opposite of what you are currently doing. 4. Continually expose your mind to new ideas and viewpoints. Ask lots of questions. Consider the possibility that you could be wrong. 5. Listen to educational audio programs in your car. Turn your car into a mobile classroom, a university on wheels. 6. Select an area where experts can help you to move ahead in your career. Develop a plan to study and learn everything you possibly can in that area. Be the best at what you do. 7. Associate only with positive, optimistic, creative, happy people who are going somewhere with their lives. Get around winners if you want to be one.